In times gone by, India was known all over the world as a country of great learning. There were several university towns and Agraha villages that anticipated the modern university campus. Of these, Nalanda and Vikramshila were particularly well known, drawing to their portals, like powerful magnets, streams of students from many different lands. Great philosophers and scientists, men like Aryabhat and Nagarjuna, flourished within a tradition of fiercely independent intellectual inquiry. These great universities of the past have continued to inspire scholars and students in present-day independent India. The world's largest democracy is engaged in the exciting task of preserving and enhancing this great tradition in its contemporary temples of learning. A list of the best technological institutes in the world would be incomplete without the Indian Institute of Technology. In India, there is no area that is not connected with the institute in some way or the other. Sprawling over a 300-acre campus, IIT, as it is commonly known, is representative of the transition that India has undergone from a traditional society to a modern one. The foundation stone of this youngest of the Indian Institutes of Technology in Delhi was laid by the Duke of Edinburgh, and the building was formally inaugurated by the then president and an eminent educationalist himself, Dr. Zakir Hussain. IIT has shouldered multiple responsibilities for an education in applied sciences and engineering. It has provided collaborative assistance in curriculum planning and laboratory development to many technological colleges in India. It is participating in 4 generic areas under the technology development missions. These are photonic devices, energy-efficient devices, new genetic engineering, and biotechnology. Of the 100,000 applicants who seek admission each year, just over 2,000 are taken in. To remain at the forefront of scientific and technological developments, it undertakes industrial consultancy projects from private and public sector organizations. These include the Ministry of Defense, the United Nations Development Programme, and the Steel Authority of India. The focus is on the development and transfer of technologies for the benefit of all sections of society. The Institute has worked extensively in the areas of agriculture and rural development. The Centre for Atmospheric Sciences is involved in weather prediction, which has a great bearing on agriculture. Work in the biomedical engineering field on injury control is done in collaboration with the All India Institute of Medical Sciences. The Centre for Energy Studies has worked on greenhouse technology for vegetable production. A major breakthrough has been the development of an injectable contraceptive for the human male.
we are working on frontiers of knowledge, new areas of technology, and then passing on these informations to the industry. On a day-to-day level, we also do consulting, troubleshooting, analysis, conceptualization of the requirements of the industry.
The IIT forms the backbone of technical education in India. A role model for other institutions, the IIT has always surpassed the expectations of the people and placed India among the technologically advanced countries of the world. The father of the Indian nation, Mahatma Gandhi, emphasized that reducing human suffering was the noblest mission that any individual or institution could pursue. This ideal inspired the timely creation of the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in New Delhi. AIIMS, as it is popularly known, epitomizes India's determination to provide standard healthcare to all its people. The Institute has provided leadership for several national health programs. It is the nodal agency for the world's largest program for mother and child development, the Integrated Child Development Scheme. The Rajendra Prasad Center for Ophthalmic Sciences is the apex institution in the National Program for Control of Blindness. The Institute has globally coordinated studies to combat iodine deficiency disorders, the cause of preventable brain damage amongst millions of South Asians. The sharp decline in diarrheal diseases that claimed the lives of nearly 3 million children every year in the 80s speaks for the success of the diarrheal disease control program. AIIMS is the largest producer of medical textbooks, papers and journals by Indian authors. More than 150 symposia, workshops and continuing medical education programs are conducted here every year. The sheer volume of work provides the student an in-depth clinical experience that is probably unparalleled in the world. It treats 1.5 million outpatients and 80,000 inpatients and conducts 98,000 operations every year. The interns may be exposed to as many as 3,000 open-heart surgeries conducted annually, as compared to 700 in an average medical college in the United States. Surgery on a one-day-old infant to a 90-year-old patient could be part of the internee's routine. With a curriculum relevant to the needs of a developing nation, it has provided training to professionals and colleges in Afghanistan, Nepal, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Sri Lanka and Mauritius.
It has a good reputation, basically, especially medical education. And the AIIMS specifically, it's known about it that it's one of the best in Asian countries, and it's compared even to European-like medical education and whatever Western education. Standard and the syllabus they use here and whatever facilities are available and all these kind of things. So I've got the chance and I've came to study here.
AIIMS has given support and direction to the entire Indian medical community. It has emerged as an institution where all the components of healthcare, from bench research to bedside care, from policy making to program evaluation, is geared towards meeting the ultimate goal of eliminating human suffering. Everything else may wait, but not agriculture, said Jawaharlal Nehru, expressing for the entire nation its post-independence priorities. The Great Bengal famine and the imports of food grains in large quantities merely added urgency to the task of self-sufficiency in food production. This was the challenge before scientists working in the newly established Indian Agricultural Research Institute. Their efforts resulted ultimately in the Green Revolution, an agricultural success story that all Indians are very proud of.
The Green Revolution was born in the fields of IRI, which really increased the food production in a dramatic way. And this happened because of the technologies developed and consolidated at IRI, which were adopted throughout the country.
Originally established in Pusa, Bihar, the institute was moved to New Delhi following an earthquake. Its mandate was to conduct basic research and improve agricultural production in harmony with the environment. Ever since, the institute has taken a lead in research and development of innovative concepts and technologies for the farmer. Known as the mother of all agricultural institutions, the IARI has shaped the identities of over 25 agricultural universities across the country. It has a network of 18 divisions, 5 multidisciplinary centers, and 9 regional stations. From its inception, the institute has worked closely with farming families, linking their lands to its laboratories. For the first time in India, surveys were conducted to gather basic information about a large agrarian community, many of which were in remote parts of the country. These surveys formed the database upon which the future course of Indian agriculture was charted. IARI combines a farmer-friendly approach with research in various aspects of agriculture. This has placed India among the agriculturally advanced nations of the world. Research conducted here at the Nuclear Research Laboratory aims at increasing the efficiency of cropping systems in irrigated as well as dryland conditions. It helps also in the improved management of inputs such as fertilizer, pesticides, and weed control measures. Many indigenous techniques were customized to meet local requirements. The benefits of low-cost herbal pesticides, such as neem, were made available to farmers. These helped in the protection of their precious crops from diseases and pests. In the process, the Institute began a collection of various insects and pests, which has grown to 400,000. Rivaling a jewelry display, this collection is one of the largest of its kind in the world. Research into agricultural engineering led to the design and development of efficient farm implements. It also introduced the use of plastic, an appropriate material for greenhouse cultivation and post-harvest use. The Institute also aims at developing new crop varieties with higher photosynthesis, better nutrient content, and greater resistance to drought. Its collaboration with various agricultural institutions worldwide is mutually beneficial.
For example, in Sudan, our variety occupies 75% of the wheat area, which is really giving the food security in Sudan. Likewise, our varieties are being used in crossing programs of a large number of international agriculture research centers.
For the first time in India, the Institute made use of remote sensing for gathering data. it has also instituted the patenting of seed and plant varieties. "12 kilometers of shelving packed with 600,000 publications from over 80 countries makes this one of the largest agrobiological libraries in the world. The institute also influences the various agricultural policies in the country. The challenge taken under difficult circumstances was successful, and the Indian Agricultural Research Institute succeeded in turning the barren fields of the country into a breadbasket. It is said that the future belongs to science. Over 90 years ago, Jamshedji Nusarwanji Tata dreamt of creating an institute that would prepare India for entry to the industrial age in a scientific and technological manner. His dream was translated into reality with the establishment of the Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore. With its majestic tower reaching for the sky, the Indian Institute of Science laid the edifice of modern science in India. What began with a few departments in electrical technology and applied chemistry grew to 40 departments over the years. Nowhere else in the country is research of such a high caliber conducted over such a range of subjects. From the structure of the DNA molecule to that of Indian languages, from solid-state physics and chemistry to the design of windmills, and from studies of pastoral tribes to the development of hypersonic facilities and rockets. This is where the Nobel laureate Sir C.V. Raman served as its first director. The course is oriented towards meeting industry's requirements. More than 1,500 projects were handled as technical consultations. The alumni of the Institute head many research and development organizations and national laboratories in the country.
Institute not only did science and did good science, it gave rise to many new institutions in this country. For example, Bharat Electronics owes its origin to this institute. Even the planning to institute IITs was taken in this campus actually. And when HAL was established, our aerospace engineering department was simultaneously established so that there will be feedback on the aerospace or aircraft industry.
The Institute publishes over 1,000 research papers every year. Over 100 doctorates are conferred annually. The Center for Scientific and Industrial Consultancy provides real-life projects, enabling its scientists to get hands-on experience. The IIS possesses the largest computing facility for any academic school in the country. The Swiss government finances the Center for Electronic Design and Technology at the Institute. It is a national consultant for projects in infrastructure areas such as power and transport. It has collaborations with many laboratories, multinational companies and universities. These include working together with the Tata Consultancy Service, the Toyohashi University of Technology, and Texas Instruments. Over the years, the Indian Institute of Science has constantly evolved in its endeavor to meet changing needs. Despite being a late entrant to space technology, India rapidly spanned the time lag and went on to build one of the largest constellations of remote sensing satellites in the world. This achievement was made possible by the Indian Space Research Organization. The ISRO developed various applications for the socio-technological benefit of the country. Though space research and related studies began under the supervision of the Department of Atomic Energy in 1961, it was in 1969 that the Indian Space Research Organization was formally constituted. The Thumba Equatorial Rocket Launching Station marked the beginning of the Indian space program. India has since developed an end-to-end capability in the design and operation of the IRS, the Indian Remote Sensing Satellite, and the INSAT. The data collected through IRS and INSAT is used for the estimation of acreage, yield of crops, forest survey, drought prediction, and flood mapping. Other countries also make use of the data supplied by the IRS-1C.
The most important elements of the Indian space program today is one which are related to the use of the space for several aspects of the applications which are related to the national development, like communications, television, broadcasting, for entertainment and education, meteorology, earth resources survey using satellites, and so on.
In September 1997, as the entire nation watched on television, India's Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle, PSLV, roared skyward with the mission of placing the IRS-1D into orbit.
We are among the 5 or 6 countries who are really spacefaring in the sense of having capability to build satellites, ability to launch them, and ability to use these systems for the national requirements. So if you say that we are among the 6 countries, if you specifically ask me where do we stand even in those 6 countries, we have built satellites like the Indian Remote Sensing Satellite, which today are the world's best in the civilian domain.
When years of development and effort are put to test in a few minutes, there can be no margin for error. The development of a launch vehicle involves many branches of science and an elaborate infrastructure. The achievement of ISRO and the Department of Space have made it possible for the nation to celebrate 25 successful years of the space program. It has provided a conducive environment for space research in the country by undertaking activities in science and technology so that the end benefits are not lost sight of. The effort made by the ISRO has paid rich dividends. For today, through a well-orchestrated program, India has emerged as a front-ranking nation. Space is no longer the ultimate frontier. They say that large oaks grow from small acorns. And the story of the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research confirms this in a dramatic manner. In 1945, India did not possess the technology to manufacture its own radio or amplifier. That same year, a confident Homi Bhabha wrote to the Dorabji Tata Trust, promising to establish a school of physics second to none in the world. An institute that would make India self-reliant in the field of nuclear energy. Dorabji Tata agreed to provide initial support, and the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research took root in a house belonging to Homi Bhabha's mother in Kenilworth, Mumbai. Today, a modern building with a foyer resembling an art gallery houses the institute. At present, over 400 scientists working at the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research are grouped in two major schools, the School of Mathematics and the School of Physics. Although India had earlier produced individual mathematicians of repute, the TIFR synergized the efforts of pure and applied mathematicians for the first time. It has been regularly participating in the World Congress of Mathematicians, open only to select countries.
There are certain areas like Lie theory and algebraic geometry. If anybody writes a definitive book on these subjects of this kind, they have to give references to people here. A number of important work has been done.
From its inception, the Institute has been at the front line of research, undertaking studies theoretical and experimental, from astrophysics to molecular biology, from chemical physics to communication science. The studies investigate new aspects of matter at its fundamental core. The facilities include the 14 million volt tandem pelletron accelerator, used for research in nuclear and atomic physics. It was here that India's first computer was built, and the concept of using balloons to collect data was developed. The National Balloon Facility of the Institute, situated at Hyderabad, is used by scientists the world over.
The style of teaching here is very different from unlike other universities. Like here, actually, the students, we are giving lectures to the professors. Like unlike in other institutes, like the professors give the lecture and student actually follows the thing. Like here, we are giving the lecture. So every day I have to prepare thoroughly for my lecture, and this is helping me a lot.
Okay, so yeah, so this is the thing, right? So L2C is functions always this.
The Institute has given rise to many centers of distinction. The world's largest meter wave radio telescope stands at the National Center for Astrophysics in Pune. The atomic energy program of India was initiated by the Institute. In an era where even simple vacuum technology was non-existent, the Institute set up many heavy water plants and reactors.
We are sort of going on a voyage, on a travel to the unknown journey. The atmosphere which we like to create, and Bhabha tried to create, and we try to follow that thing, is that we are all together in this journey of exploring the world of science. Like a father and son or daughter, you always want that they should do better than you. This is exactly the same feeling. We will like they should do better than me, and they must. If they don't do better than me, then they are not going to be solving any problem beyond what we have solved. So they have to be better.
Homi Bhabha's vision of getting good people and starting work was successful, and the promise he made to Dorabji Tata is honored by every member at the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research.